Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back from your lunch break. My name is Trigby. I'll be handling the 1 o'clock presentation today. We're going to be talking about how to evaluate your website as a salesperson. We're going to be talking about how we can make it a little bit better, how we can make it a little bit stronger, and more importantly, how we can view it as one of the most important people on your payroll. My name is Trigby. I am a former ALE from Constant Contact based in Minneapolis and St. Paul. A couple of logistical notes before we begin. I am going to stop sharing and let you know that if you are interested in asking me questions during the show, if you go to the YouTube page where this is being displayed, right now you can see on the right-hand side where it says Top Chat. You can actually ask me questions if you're viewing this live, and I will be more than happy to share this and answer any questions that I'm able to see. I'm going to be flipping back and forth through a couple of different windows, so if I miss it, please understand I will try and catch up the best I can. So let's go ahead and let me flip back to the presentation today. This is part of an overall collaborative effort of an... That's interesting. I wonder what happened there. Let me try that again. There we go. Share, present to everyone. Super. So this is part of an overall collaborative effort through a number of different really talented experts from around the world. I am the 1 o'clock speaker. Next is how to do appreciation marketing, which is a great seminar. I absolutely recommend that you take part in it if you have the opportunity. We have a number of promotional partners who are helping us along the way. Today, you can see we're getting promotional partners from as far away from me as Orlando, Florida, but as well as a number of people in Ohio, and especially here in Minnesota, where I'm talking to you from. So here's what we're going to talk about today: how to build a website that is better than just good enough. One of the things that I am hear all the time when I am talking to companies about their website is, well, we just sort of have a website. Yeah, it's okay, but it doesn't really excite any of our customers, and it really doesn't do a whole lot for us. But it's there, you know, and we don't really feel the need to go any farther than that. Well, in this day and age, that's simply not good enough. So before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about BusyWeb. We are a full-service digital agency based in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We are a Google partner. We are also a HubSpot agency partner. Our specialties are focused on digital marketing and lead generation. In addition to that, we can also build you a new website, advertise your business, work on inbound marketing. Really anything under the sun as it relates to digital marketing we can handle for you, but our specialties really are in growth. How can we grow your organization better through better leads, better marketing? So here's the famous monologue from the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, which was originally a David Mamet play. And if you're in sales and you haven't seen it, you need to hang up right now and watch this movie because it is a game changer for you. Alec Baldwin is very brusque and very angry in explaining the ABCs of sales. A, always, B, C, closing. That's it. That's what your salesperson should do. And if your website isn't doing that, it's not an effective use of your time and certainly not effective use of your money, and it needs to be looked at a little bit more closely, which is what we're going to be dealing with today. For those people who think that they understand what their customers are doing, they tend to think of something like this, that somebody is sitting at their desk, they're thinking, gosh, I really want to make an evaluative buying decision today. I'm going to do a lot of research and figure out what exactly do I want, and I want to make sure that I come to the right people and ask them the right questions, and then I'm going to make a decision. Well, that's all fine and lovely, but that doesn't actually happen. Realistically, in this day and age, this is what's more likely to be happening. Your prospect is going to be sitting somewhere after a very long day looking at your business on an iPad and making quick decisions as to whether or not they want to follow through. So if they don't have the answers that they want, if they don't have the information that they want to have and they want to see from you, they're just simply gone. You don't get a second bite at the apple. You don't get a second chance to make that first impression. And more often than not, your website is the linchpin to all of that. So here's the question I would have for you. How confident are you with a prospect being alone with your website? If you feel like, if you have any sort of pause there, if you have any sort of dramatic thought behind that where you think, I don't know, I mean, I guess it's fine, that's not the right answer. You should have a resounding yes. Yes, I am confident that a prospect alone with my website can make the kind of decisions that I want them to make, that can understand what I want to ask of them, and that they can engage with me so I can start working with them. If you don't have that answer, then I'm glad you're here today, and there are some things we can do to work on that. So what I want to do is go over some of the basic things you should be looking at and some of the basic things that you should be asking yourself of your website, some of the things that I see on a regular basis. Let's get back to Alex Blackboard. Here's the 4 things that you need to be focused on when you're looking at a website. A, attention. Does it grab your attention? I, interest. Does it interest you? Does the solution, the potential of the solution, even the actual thing itself, does it actually interest you? D, decision. Can I make a decision without having to talk to somebody, or do I have to talk to somebody? I want to be able, as a consumer, I want to be able to make that decision on my own. Finally, A, action. I as a consumer, need to be able to take that action. And if I can't, then I'm going to go somewhere else because it's just simply too hard. By and large, you have about 2 to 5 seconds to get people to go from A to I to D to A. All of those things will happen almost simultaneously. And if your website isn't doing that, chances are those people are just simply gone. So how do we look about this in terms of evaluating our website? The first and the biggest problem that I see on a regular basis is that people who write a website have forgotten about their prospect. They are actually repelling people away from making a buying decision. And the way that they do that is by saying, I know what's best. I know what I think is interesting. I want to educate my prospect in order to make a buying decision. And I'm going to put forth what I think is important, and then my customers will then flock to me and everything will be great. That doesn't actually happen. Here's what it looks like in a real world scenario. Here is the sphere of influence of what you want. And here is the sphere of influence of what they want. And you can see that there is some overlap, but really where you need to be playing is right in here. And if you're over in here on the left, that's just not going to cut it. So you need to be asking yourself the question, are you providing the right kind of information that your customers want to hear? Not what you want to tell them, what they want to hear. So one of the themes that I'm going to come back to is figuring out what your frequently asked questions are. So of those questions that people ask you in every sales call that you make, are you answering those questions on your website in a way that they can figure out that answer immediately? If the answer is no, chances are good you're over in here, where you've provided some information, but it's not what they want. So it's time to reevaluate the website. Or you potentially have over-educated your customer. Your customer is not looking for a big, giant class on how to make a decision. If they do that, they're going to say, okay, thank you, I'm gone. I'm going to go buy from somebody else now. What you want to do is engage the prospect into educating them so that you can help them make the decision. You can have a consultative sell, not just by telling them everything that they need, because that's what libraries are for. That's not what a business website is for. Next, and this is crucial because this is something that happens on a regular basis, is by and large, if you look at an analytics report, more than half of those people who are coming to their website are just trying to figure out a way to contact you. So if that's true based on your analytics, and we'll get into analytics in a little bit, then the question that you need to ask yourself is, are you providing that information quickly and easily? Is your information redundant? So by what I mean by that, is it on the top of your page and the bottom of your page? Can I look at your page quickly, find your phone number, and be able to call you? Because sometimes I just want to call somebody. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to fill out a form. I don't want to have to go through a big dial process. I just want to be able to pick up the phone and call. So if you're not doing that, or if you're having trouble finding it, this is what your customers see. They see somebody who's not interested in talking. Just read the website. If you can't figure it out, then go from there. Now, the question you should ask yourself is, yeah, but I can find it, so doesn't that mean that they should be able to find it? The answer is no. If you can find it, that's great. Chances are good if you're going to buy your own product, then you're in a good business. But if somebody else can't find it, which your data should tell you, then you need to make a simple change. This is oftentimes the biggest mistake that we see in web design is it's not providing the information that customers want quickly and easily or redundantly, because everybody's going to have a different journey. So think about this as you're looking at your website. If you can give your website to your mother and your mother can figure out what your work number is quickly, then chances are good you're probably fine. But if she can't, then it's time for a redesign. Third, and I know you hear about this a ton, and you hear about this all the time, is are people finding you through digital searches and through online organic searches? And there's a whole subculture of digital marketing as it relates to search engine optimization. So if you, one of the common mistakes that we see, especially when you get a website that's built by like your nephew or somebody who does it as a sideline or something like that, is they quite simply haven't asked Google to start indexing your site. So Google is not omnipotent. They don't 100% know that you need to do this. So you have to ask Google, say, hey, you fill out a little form, takes about 2 minutes, and then Google will start indexing your site on a regular basis, generally speaking about every 5 days. I can't tell you how many times we found a customer has brought us a site that isn't actually being indexed by Google. So actually try and look for yourself. If you can't find yourself on Google by doing a Google search, then it's something you really need to address with your web developer. Why is this important? It's because 2% of all searches go to the second page of a Google search. So if you're not on that first page, or your competitors are, or somebody else who is doing the same kind of thing that you're doing, it's time to look at your site again. Because if you think about your website as a salesperson, if your salesperson isn't getting in touch with anybody, if they're not doing the job that you're asking them to do, it's time to find a new salesperson. Fourth, nobody visits your site. If you've got a website where you have analytics plugged in, and that's a free program offered by Google called Google Analytics. You can go if you just search for Google Analytics, you can find it. There is a great free program that's available that will tell you how many people are coming to your website and how long they're staying and what pages they're looking at and what process do they take, the journey line from the start to when they leave your site. And if you don't have enough people coming to your site, that's a problem, because you can have the world's greatest website. You can have the most beautiful store, but if you don't have any traffic coming to it, if you don't have anybody who's trying to find you or actively searching you out, if somebody has a problem and they can't figure out that you're the one trying to solve it, then you're just simply failing. Again, your salesperson has to be available 24/7, and just like your website does. It has to be available, it has to be findable, it has to be accessible. I'm in sales at BusyWeb. That's part of my job as business development. And if I'm a person who doesn't answer my phone or doesn't let people know what my phone number is, I shouldn't be having my job. By the way, my phone number will be available at the end of this presentation. So that's something to look at too. Are you getting people to come to your website? If so, that's good. Then you can start evaluating the process of what they're doing when they get there. But if you just simply don't have a lot of people going to your site, then you're not feeding that salesperson correctly, and mostly trying to come back to it. So I'm going to stop for a second and read the question. True Hire asks, going back to the decision, we do mostly custom quotes. So people can't just sign up on our website. Do you have suggestions on what we can provide for the decision to get people to take the action of at least submitting a lead or calling? Well, thank you for the question. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I would argue that you do have a decision-making process. if you get to a point where somebody, and my guess is true hire, you've got some people who are primarily, I'm going to guess, are probably B2B. In that particular case, the jumping off point is saying, yes, I would like more information. Yes, I would like to talk more about somebody. Yes, I'm interested in pricing or something like that. Please have somebody reach out to me. So if yeah, thank you. You just said yes, B2B. So what I encourage you to look at is the idea of what is the decision that we want somebody to have when they're coming to our website. They're not going to buy your service right out the gate, and if they do, that's gravy. But if they don't, then to translate, then what is the decision that we can have? Well, more than likely, it's a form fill of some kind. We'll talk about form fields in a little bit. So thank you for the question. Second, George Atuna asks, what happened when the bounce rate is really high, over 90%? Well, George, I'd have to see your website to really be able to evaluate that, but it's a great question. And again, thank you for that. What I tell you to look at is one of two things. It's number one is look at the actual visitors that are coming to you. Maybe you have a significant portion of bots that are coming to your website, which is why the bounce rate is really high, because they're just skipping off the top. Or chances are good you might have a business where they're just looking for your phone number. So the question you need to ask yourself is, why are people coming to my website, and what are they doing when they get there? So a good bounce rate should be under 50%. Over 90 is really, really high, and I'd encourage you to reach out and talk to me. We can talk a little bit more about that offline. Thanks for the questions. I really appreciate the live feedback. So, okay, now we're through 4. Now we're going to get to the fun stuff. Number 5, you're not actually asking them anything. So when you're asking people to do something, and that kind of gets to True Hire's question and to George's question as well, is what are we asking people to do when they come to the website? And by the way, I have to add this caveat. As my wife thinks I'm not as funny as I do, so she wanted me to point out that this is a line from an 80s movie called Say Anything, where the two characters are saying, you can ask me anything. So again, sorry if you didn't get the obscure 80s reference, but hey, I thought it was funny. So what are you asking them to do? And what that's specifically called is a call to action. And there's a number of different words and action words that you can get to and provide to people, and they look kind of like this: call, trial, free, order, action, download. Any of those words in the right combination can get a clear call to action, where you're asking somebody to do something and they do it. Why do we do this? It's because everybody will come to you in some form or another, realizing that they're going to get taken for a ride. That's what people's initial reaction to you will be. How are you going to take me for a ride? So what the website and the marketing will do is starting a little bit and little tiny yeses to get to the big yes. So if I asked you, can I have $10,000? Hopefully your answer is no, because what on earth are you going to do with that $10,000? Well, I'm going to do little things. I'm going to build you a great big website. It's going to be awesome. It's going to change your life. Well, I don't have that kind of luxury, because if you remember that 2 to 5 second mark, I'm well over that. So what are you asking them to do to start? Hey, can I have your email? I'll give you a great download that you can read and review, and we can follow up. We can maybe have a conversation about it. Remember, when I ask you that question, you're still feeling like I'm going to get you. But that's fairly benign. Okay, sure, here's my email. Yeah, we can talk about it. How you evaluate, how you ask people, the small imprinting yeses on them will ultimately help you lead to the bigger yes, and that's really the purpose of your website. So make sure that you have a clear call to action where you're clearly saying what you want somebody to do. Easiest way to do this is find somebody who doesn't work for you or isn't you. Again, like your mother, plop the website down in front of them and ask them the question, what is this website asking you to do? Where does your eye get led? What does this website want from you? And if they can't answer the question within 5 to 10 seconds, or if they're clearly guessing, then it's time for a redesign and it's time for something else. Next, one of the big problems that we see, and something that you really need to look at, is, are you capturing anything? So if you have a call to action, What exactly are you asking of those people? What are you trying to gather? Well, there's a number of different things and a number of different processes that come into that, which I'll get to in a minute, and things that can go on. But ultimately, we're trying to start the sales process. How can I help you? Here, let me offer you something in order to make your life better. Maybe that's just your website. Maybe that's a download. Maybe that's an email. Maybe that's starting a continuing relationship. But if you're not actually asking that question, then nothing happens. If you're not asking to start a relationship with somebody, even on the benign level of signing up for your email newsletter, your website's simply failing. You can't, if a salesperson who works for you says, I can't come back, I'm not going to ask you for your name or your information or anything like that, but can I buy from you? Oh, no? Okay, great. I'll see you later. That person should be fired. You should start by asking small little questions and offering small little responses as well. That'll start imprinting the concept of yes on your people, and that concept of trying to get back to a big, hairy yes, which is, will you buy from me? Next one, this is one of the things that just irritates the heck out of me, especially because I'm in business development, so I'm on the road all the time, and I'm trying to figure out where I go. I think I know where everything is. My wife would disagree with that. So what I generally do is get in the car and start driving generally to the area, and if I can't find out, and then I look it up on my phone. But if I have to stop and enter in an address and then pull up my map thing, that's just going to irritate me, and I'm just going to want to go somewhere else. So if I look up a website, this is from my website at busyweb.com, there are a couple of things that are happening here. Number one, my phone number is touchscreen responsive. So if you click on that and touch that, when you're looking at my website on a phone or on a mobile device, it'll call the main office phone number for BusyWeb. Secondly, if you click on my address, what will happen is the website is pre-programmed to work with your device and actually show you the quickest route to my office. And you can see here where we're located in Minneapolis. So if this is, again, a great opportunity for you to provide basic information that your customers are going to want. Where are you? How do I get in touch with you? If I can't get in touch with you, or getting in touch with you is hard, then I just am gone, because I've already found a list of 500 other people that do what you want. And I just don't have the time to try and get to where you want to be and how hard you're making it for me. If I can't call you easily, how hard is everything else behind you going to be? Now, to get back to TrueHire's question from earlier, how do you ask really good questions when people are going to be filling out a form? And these are all examples that I've actually found on websites. If you're asking too much, people are just going to be gone. So look at this fun little red guy here. This is how people are starting with you. They're angry, they're irritated, and they think you're going to take them for a ride. So you start asking them for a benign interaction. Hey, can I have some contact information? And then can we take it from there? And you can, I'll give you something in response, and we can start the relationship. And they say, oh, yeah, sure. They say, okay, great. What's your name? Okay. And what's your company name? And what's your company industry? Oh, what's your address as well? Tell me your job title, your phone number. Oh, I'm going to need your email. Oh, while you're at it, throw in your social security number. What are your pain points? Because I really want to give those to my sales team as well, so that they don't have to work very hard. Oh, tell me one other thing. How did you find us? Oh, when I say one other thing, I was just kidding. Do you know John? He's awesome. You really got to meet John. And then here's what happens. Your customer prospect who's mildly irritated is starting to get even more frustrated. And then you go and keep asking them more and more questions. What interested you on our website? What make my job easier? Tell me what you want to buy. Are you the decision maker? I've actually found this several different times in the last 30 days on websites. How much of a budget do you have? Well, geez, what exactly is your sales team doing if you're actually asking the question up front what the budget is? What do I need to do to get you into this product today? There's different variations of this, but ultimately, if you're asking a question like that, you just really need to hire somebody to build your website for you, because it's just not appropriate. Oh, can you pay by credit card too? Because it's the end of the month and I really am short on revenue, so that would just be super. So then what happens to your customer, who's a prospect, who's now angry at all these questions that they have to fill out and getting increasingly more frustrated, is, oh, one more question, can you pay today? They're just gone. They're just simply gone. So remember the frustration that your customer is having. Ask a couple of questions. What's the least amount of information that you can get from somebody in order to contact them? Probably their name, their company name, and phone number or email. Everything else you should be able to tease out through the sales process, or even through a more sophisticated marketing process, like an inbound process. Don't be asking all these questions too many. So if you have more than 3 questions on your form, TrueHire, you might want to look at that. I'm guessing by the name of your company, you might be a recruiting firm. And if you are a recruiting firm, then you should have a couple of different contact points, either for your companies that you're looking to get job recs from, or for your candidates. And those are 2 different things. 9. What's the facts? What are the frequently asked questions that anybody who doesn't know you are going to be asking you right away? Well, they're going to be asking you some simple ones, like what makes you different, and what makes you worth my time, and why should I buy from you? So if you don't have those questions available and answerable on your website, again, they're going to be gone. So what I'd encourage you to do is actually sit down with your sales team and say, what are the same questions that you get asked every single time? What are the same objections that you get every single time? And then start building your content from there, because those are real life examples and real time examples of what the people who your sales team are in front of are getting on a regular basis. And to get back to the number 1 point that I made about not providing content for your customer, this is an easy way to solve that, an easy way to get around that. So write down your frequently asked questions and figure out what those answers are, and then build a content strategy around that. So all that being said, what do we do? How do we change this? Well, I want to go through, here's what our methodology is, and you can feel free and steal this, or if you want to talk more about it, we can certainly do this. There's 5 different choices and 5 different points in the decision-making process and a customer process that people go through. Number 1 is awareness, where people are saying, oh man, I have a problem. Number 2 is consideration. How can I solve that problem? Number 3, I'm ready to make a purchase. Number 4, I don't know if I really made the right purchase. I don't know if I should stay. And then 5 is advocacy. I love my purchase. I love the company I'm working with. I really want to keep moving forward. I really want to keep doing this more and more and more and more and more. So where does digital come in? You can see that right about here and through the wave to about here and even into here, there's so many different ways and things in which people are interacting with you, all of which leads to your website. Ultimately, what you want to do is have your website be the last jumping off point, and these things need to be a funnel in getting people to the website, so that when they are ready to make a purchase or ready to make a jumping off point and start an engagement of some kind, they're going to be doing that with you. So of these 5 points, then your website has to be thought of, again, as as an advocate for you and as a salesperson, and somebody can answer questions quickly in a variety of different ways. So here's what traditional web design looks like. This is not what we do. This is what a lot of people do, though. You build a site. Oh, okay, great. Yay, it's made some impact. And then over time, it's gotten less and less impactful, or it's sort of plateaued. Then we spent 6 months into redesigning it. Wow, look at the more impact we've gotten. Way, yay, that's great. And now we do it again, and we do some more redesign, and then boom, big growth. Awesome. This is fantastic. So over 4 years, we've had this amount of growth. Isn't that great? Well, again, if you're thinking of your website as a salesperson, that doesn't actually hold a whole lot of water, because if your salesperson is plateauing, you need to find a new one. So here's how we do it: is we have a process called user-centered design, where we say there is no such thing as a finished website. Our website is now another part of the team and has to be improved upon on a regular basis. So we use the data that we get to start advocating those questions that we get, that I talked about earlier. What are the questions that we're getting? What are the interactions we're getting? What we would consider a close rate? Now, obviously, close rate for me is going to be different than a close rate for the website, but it backs into one of the questions that we had earlier: is what is a good decision point? Well, for my website, it's to fill out a form and say I'm interested in talking with you. So by continuously looking at it, we look at our website every 2 weeks to say, what does the data tell us? We see smaller incremental growths, but over a period of time, our website has become significantly more impactful than anything else. One of the things that I'm going to be doing for you as a thank you for putting up with me and listening to my jokes is I am going to be sending you an ebook about user-centered design and how we do things a little differently. Again, feel free and use that as you go about your daily life. If you want to learn more about it, be happy to chat with you about it, but it's a great starting point. So all this being said, what exactly do you do when you leave here today? How exactly do you change? Am I asking you to drop everything and call me and give me a pile of money so that I can rebuild your website? No, absolutely not. To be fair, if you did that, I wouldn't say no, but here's a couple of points that I want you to think about. Again, look at the blackboard behind Alec. Ask yourself the 4 questions. A, attention. Does my website grab somebody's attention? I went to a company 3 days ago that makes really amazing medical device technology, and the opening hero image on their website is a picture of a nondescript brown building. Doesn't excite me. It doesn't grab my attention. Next is I is interest. Am I interested in what you have to offer, and am I interested in the problem that you are trying to solve? D, decision. Is the decision that you're asking me to make, is it something that I'm willing to do? And A, am I taking the action? If the answer is no to any of those 4, it's time to reevaluate your website, because it's just simply not doing the job for you anymore. Next, I want you to bet on engagement. When you're thinking about your website, create a certain amount of engagement with the right kind of prospects. If you're not sure what the right kind of prospects are, you need to sit down and evaluate who's your best customer, what are they doing, and how are they doing, and what makes them the best customers that we've had, and then start looking for those people. So even in your social, in your website, all of your content that you're doing, try and engage with those people that meet that same profile. Next, and again, this is something that just seems really simple but doesn't actually happen a whole lot, is use a CRM, driving your visitors towards a specific next action. Figure out what your journey process is and what you'd ideally like people to take. And if they're not doing it, then reevaluate what you have on staff. If it's not getting the job done, then it's time to change it. And I just really can't even say it more plainly than that. I'm so darn passionate about what I do. Finally, make sure that you measure the success. Start with a baseline. Figure out what you're getting right now. And if you're making the decision to say, yes, this is not acceptable, I want more. How much more? How much is enough? And how quickly can you get there? Chances are good you might want to say, well, gosh, I really want to double or triple my business. Well, that's super, but that's not really going to happen in the next 30 days unless you have 1 customer and you're going from 1 to 2. So figure out what is a successful return on my investment here, and figure out whether or not you're achieving that. By then, you can start evaluating your marketing processes and figure out, are your marketing processes helping your sales processes and therefore helping your bottom line? So thanks for the nice compliment, Monica Moss Gransberry. If you guys want to let me know in the comment sections where you are in the world, I'd love to hear from you. Especially since I've been dealing with some bronchitis. I'm fairly drugged up on ibuprofen right now, so I'd really love a positive pat on the head today. So Couple of things I want to do for you. Again, if you're not sure about your what the value of your website is and where you're getting, I want you to go to busyweb.com/buzz. This is, I'm asking you just a couple of simple questions, and it'll start the evaluative process on your website. It takes about a minute to do. It gives you about 15 pages worth of stuff that tells you how good your website is and where and what you can do to improve on it. We are not the kind of people who will come to you and say, oh my gosh, you need to tear the whole thing down. Absolutely not. Figure out what you're doing well. How can we improve upon that? This is a free thing. Again, it's simply my saying thank you for putting up with me for so long today and dealing with my raspy voice. What's a guy version of Kathleen Turner? I think I sound great today, but like Sam Elliott, maybe. Yeah, I'll take that. So again, a lot of more great webinars that are available. If you want to look at them, go to dayofdigital.com. The next one is going to be appreciation marketing, and then marketing automation is a great one as well that I really encourage you to take a look at. All the presenters around the country, we're going to figure out how we can have these available to you. But for me, I will tell you that if you go to my website, which is busyweb.com, this will be posted to my YouTube page as soon as I am done here today. Also, if you really like this, you found this was simple and useful and engaging, I'd love to start the conversation with you. Easiest thing to do to join my email list is to text the word busy, B-I-Z-Z-Y, to 22828. You'll be prompted to join my email list, or you can reach out to me directly. My name is Trygve, T-R-Y-G-V-E, at busyweb.com. Here's my contact information. If you'd like to get a hold of me, if you'd like a copy of my deck, anything like that, I'd be more than happy to share with you. This is not a picture of me. This is a picture of Dave, who works at BusyWeb. But love to chat with you. Love to learn more about some of the struggles you're having, some of the successes you're having, and learn more about you and your business. So thank you so much for participating. Thank you all for the really great questions. My name is Trygve. I'm with BusyWeb, where we generate buzz without getting stung for our clients. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to seeing you in the future.